and this is all the thing tied to peace. It gets to the point where you couldn't hurt another human being. It would be like hurting yourself. This is the way it is supposed to be. It's not the way it is, but it would be so beautiful. But the key is there. This feeling, it just grows, and it's real. It's much more real feeling than our world, which is pretty much an absurd joke when, somebody is blowing children's heads off in the name of peace. It's a sadness. It's the old way. And now there is a new way to real peace, and nothing to do with killing. And so it's reached a point where you just wouldn't ever think to hurt another human being. And you travel in real peace. You travel and you meet friends, not enemies. The light of unity destroys the enmity in an enemy, destroys negativity. There's no more enemy.
David Lynch's foundation has taught transcendental meditation, also known as TM, to thousands of people in the US, Australia, and other countries. His TM schools focus on teaching school children and other at-risk populations, such as the homeless, military veterans, war refugees, and prison inmates. The reason why he started the foundation is he believed that meditation promotes peace and goodwill amongst people. He says TM meditation is a vehicle by which people can access what scientists call the unified field, otherwise referred to as God or the source of all. This is a timeless teaching, the no thing, the unmanifested unified field from which all things come from. This field of unity and its oneness is beyond duality and is everything that ever was and ever will be. It is infinite, eternal, immortal consciousness, and by being able to tap into this field, we can lead a better, more holistic life. Connect to your higher self. Focus to motivate and enrich your life, and inspire others to find their true path. Join me on a journey to discover your power and higher purpose. Practicing oneness as an experience of life is said to bring us greater joy, creativity, productiveness, and peace. Yet we live in such a divided world where on a daily basis we are bombarded with information and polarizing issues that ask us to make choices, to have opinions on people, issues, and things. We get worked up and emotional about taking sides in sports games. We're asked to vote for one political side or the other, and more seriously, we're asked to take sides in warring factions. This is part of our life here on Earth. As David Lynch says in the intro, this is the old world. Sure, we must indeed make choices based on our values, but as my father once wisely said to me, "Darling, if you have no control over situations and issues, there is no point worrying nor thinking about them too much." This is hard to do. Indian mystic Krishnamurti once said, "It is no measure of success to be well adjusted in a profoundly sick world." But we do need to remember that our own healing also helps to heal the world, as noted in 1 Corinthians 12:26. If one part suffers, all the parts suffer with it. And as David Lynch says, if indeed we are part of the one source of all, then surely it would matter that if a great deal of people on this planet suffer, we all have a hand in that suffering, but we also have a hand in the potential healing. The world at large is being polarized like never before. However, we need to remember that the key to personal growth and wholeness is to stay focused and centered. Those in the know have always known that if a person is divided within themselves, that is, if they are polarized mentally and emotionally, they lose their connection to spirit, or the oneness, the source of all, and thereby lose their ability to tap into everything that the all that is and always will be is able to give them access to. Once we pick a side on the physical plane, we then also pick a side on the mental and spiritual levels of existence, and thereby cut ourselves off to what the other side and the middle positions can offer or can even gift us. For many, it is very hard to stop taking sides. Believe me, I have been training my mind, body, and spirit not to take sides for many years now, and finally, I'm seeing the fruits of my labor. I don't get anxious nor upset about things that used to really aggravate and upset me. We will talk about theories of how we are living in a hologram or a simulation or the matrix in a later video, and how we ourselves as potential antennas of the one source of all can influence the matrix through morphic resonance. This means when a certain number of people come together in healing, as in a meditation group, they can potentially heal the entire world. Remember, as we heal ourselves and bring in the new creative and peaceful world into existence, so too we assist in healing our families, our friends, our communities, and therefore the world. Non-duality is a profound and radical spiritual concept that challenges our everyday understanding of reality. What if the divisions we see in the world between you and me, good and bad, light and dark, aren't as real as they seem? What if, at the deepest level, everything is one, and every decision we make is really only just the one side of the same coin? We don't necessarily need to meditate, though it does help. But apart from meditating, we can practice the concept of non-duality in our daily lives and in our daily habits. Practicing non-duality can help us to lead better lives. The trick is to stay as centered as possible, but how can we do this when the world around us is constantly asking us to choose and to take sides? Non-duality, or from the original Sanskrit meaning not two, is the idea that the apparent separation we perceive in the world is an illusion. At its core, non-duality suggests that all distinctions between self and other, subject and object, even life and death, are constructs of the mind. It invites us to see beyond the surface-level distinctions that separate us. What if, instead of identifying solely with our beliefs, our roles, or even our bodies, we recognize that beneath it all, we are expressions of the same underlying reality? True reality, in its essence, is one indivisible whole. Practicing non-duality doesn't mean ignoring differences or pretending conflict doesn't exist. We still have to live by our values and what we believe to be true. But it does mean understanding that these differences arise within a greater unity. It's about moving from either-or thinking to both-and thinking, embracing paradoxes rather than rejecting them. It also means, as antennas, that is, as potential creator gods and goddesses of the one source of all, we then start taking responsibility for the world we create around ourselves. After all, if mind precedes reality, as noted in our intro video, then our minds have created the very reality we live in and occupy. So, for example, if we have a difficult relationship with our partner, friend, child, or work colleague, it means that somewhere in the depths of our being, we have an unresolved issue that is being projected onto the outer world. As the saying goes, as above, so below. As within, so without. We need to ask ourselves, is there something in that other person that is an aspect of ourselves that needs healing? This may be a bitter pill to swallow, but when we chose the path of personal liberation, this is a truth pill that can't be ignored. Also, we need to remember that DNA is a biological storage system of data, and as such, we are programmed to think certain ways through our biological programming, otherwise known as ancestral ways of thinking. We are not conscious of this, just as my computer is not yet conscious of how the programmer programmed its hardware and software. Psychologists have identified that up to 95% of all that we do is subconscious, that is, based on biological programming. And that's why, as noted at the end of episode 1, mindfulness is so important in terms of reprogramming how we think of ourselves and of the world we've created around us. Practicing non-duality can profoundly influence how a person approaches life and manifesting the world they want to live in by shifting their perspective on perceived reality and aligning with the flow of life, which is the source of all. Stay tuned to part 2 of non-duality, where we give some tips and tricks on staying focused on your own development to grow into oneness, rather than being fragmented into ever smaller pieces by the information overload we are currently consuming. If you find this video helpful, to be kept in the loop for more motivation, inspiration, and sharing of mystical ideas that can spark your spirit, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Let's go on this journey together to create and to become 1% better each day.